In that season, my body wasn't responding. In that season, I wasn't interested in it. I didn't think about it.
Taking offense that this man does not find me desirable. I remember I used to ask, but outside desire, remember sex communicates love to me. Yeah. So I would even ask, do you love me?
Do you even love me? Your performance is directly attached to your worth, your self-worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, fully.
That is a big cross to carry.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Dream Team, we are so excited to announce that we're officially back on YouTube.
Yeah, with a brand new season of Here's a Thought with the Max.
Hello, Dream Team. Welcome back to our podcast.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, beautiful people, Dream Team, to another exciting podcast of Here's a Thought with the Max. My name is Lerato Mageta.
And I'm Petola Mageta.
The ever so beautiful.
And this podcast is proudly sponsored by Solal.
We love Solal.
Yes.
Come on.
Baby, are we back?
Yes, we're back. Can you believe it, guys?
Back with the bag.
We are actually back. So excited to be here.
Yeah.
So excited to be sitting with my wife, sitting with you guys, breaking bread, having riveting conversation. I'm ready.
You know, when you say riveting, you guys can obviously see the title of this episode, right?
Yeah.
We are gone for however many months, and then we come back straight. We go straight for the jugular.
Yeah.
We don't waste any time.
Yeah.
Are you too stressed for sex?
I have been. I really have been. My wife and I have had a bit of a journey when it comes to sex, and we thought that we needed to bring it to camera.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we always talk about is giving people permission to be the best versions of themselves. And what we realized is there is so much value in sharing our story and being honest really about our journey and the things that we've struggled with and things that we haven't struggled with, and you know what I mean, but what that does is it opens up the conversation within your home so that maybe you can actually turn to your husband and say, well, or turn to your wife and say, oh, so it's not just us, you know, we go through the same thing. So I definitely have had stress, and it has definitely affected our sex life. How about you?
Sure. Wow, you went.
I mean, you asked, and I answered. That's all that happened.
I don't know why I'm getting uncomfortable.
Flustered.
You know why I'm getting flustered, guys? Ne? Because as married couples, we don't have these conversations.
Yeah.
Right? We'll talk about, how amazing the sex is or how amazing marriage is. But we don't really talk about the uncomfortable parts, especially when it comes to intimacy.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing that, baby, they speak about when you get married, you know, the pastors will go, oh, you know, don't hold back your what is the verse? It's in First Corinthians 7. Look it up.
Babe, what's that verse again? I don't know.
When a pastor, you must know.
I don't know.
So, it's all, gravy when they talk about your body doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
It belongs to your wife. Do not withhold your body from your husband, and vice versa, and so on, so forth and so on. And it talks about a married couple can consent to not having sex for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
I think it's, during fasting and so forth and so on. But no one really talks about the times when
it's not happening.
It's just not popping. It's like, guys, I didn't see, hey?
Yeah.
I didn't see. And I did some research, I like research, right? Research talks about how over 80% of married couples have sex at least thrice a month.
That's shocking to me.
That is hectic.
Wait, hold on. At most or at least?
At most.
Oh, you said at least.
No, at most.
Okay, so 80% of couples will have sex 3 times a month at most.
At most.
That's
and there's a running
I thought it would be
right?
less than that.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
from conversations that I've had, I thought that it would
With
be less than
who?
that with guys. Definitely not talking to women about it.
Okay,
Better believe
so
that.
what is the conversation?
Yeah, no, that is just not happening. That look, we're just not having sex.
Really?
We're just not. you know?
And do they cite why they're not having sex?
It's usually the guy moaning, you know? It's usually the guy moaning and saying, I wish we had more sex and whatever. But that wasn't always the case with us, was it?
Yeah.
You know, so
I like how you bring it back to us.
yeah,
Well, you just like bring it back to us.
yeah, that wasn't always the case with us.
So in the beginning, I was not the culprit. Was I the culprit?
We'll call it culprit for now, for the sake of the conversation.
So I found that, and we spoke about it in another podcast many years ago, how I was part of the headache gang in the beginning. But I think what we don't speak about is when your body betrays you. Because you start making excuses because there's something also happening sometimes physically. For me personally, I was on contraceptive. I shared briefly with you guys. And the intimacy side of things was just very difficult for me. You know, there was I would go dry, I would feel pain. And that in itself made me not to want to get intimate.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start stressing about the fact that now you're not having enough sex.
Yeah.
Right. And now you think back about the scripture where it says, no, do not deprive your husband
Yeah.
of 1, 2, 3. You know, but no one really talks about how stress and fatigue and all those things can really impact your sex life.
Yeah, and I think the conversations that we're having at the time, and a conversation that we don't have enough is what effect that has on your partner, right? And at the time, I just remember feeling rejected. I felt like, this is a conversation we don't have a lot, right? We don't have the conversation about what it feels like for a man when you're constantly rejecting him. A married man, your husband. Let me go deeper, right? When your body is even rejecting your husband,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now it's like you're not responding. Your body's not responding. You're not well moisturized. You know, and it's just not happening, you know.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for you? And I think one of the things that I did, you know, my flight response then was to just stop initiating.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't willing to be vulnerable and keep putting myself out there like that and continuously feel like I was being rejected at the time, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I can appreciate that. I just also feel like the conversation that we're not having is that sex is not the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Right. And I find that as married couples, and what we are told in premarital counsel is that do not withhold your body. But no one really speaks about intimacy holistically.
Yeah.
What is intimacy? Right? In times of stress, when your body is betraying you, are there other things that you can do that can make your partner feel wanted and not feel rejected?
Yeah.
Are we communicating enough? Do we have the vocabulary to communicate that, baby? For example, when we had Lahakwe, our first baby, I had just had a baby. I am breastfeeding. I am sleep deprived. I am fatigued. I don't know whether I'm coming or going, but are we having the conversation
You're body
about
conscious.
I'm body conscious.
Yeah.
My body can't physically, mentally, I can't go there. Physically, I can't go there because I'm still healing.
Yeah.
And there's also this 6-week rule that, you know, you have to get clearance from your doctor after 6 weeks. But for some women, it's 3 months.
Yeah.
For some women, it's 4 months, and we're
Yeah.
not having that conversation.
Yeah.
So I really think that we need to go back to the heart of what intimacy is. Intimacy does not start at penetration
Or end.
or end. Do you know what I mean? And I think that, I don't know if men are being done a disservice because you guys are not explained to that ke package this thing.
What does that mean?
It means that there are other ways, you know,
Sure.
we can, intimacy is us spending time together, is
Yeah.
us listening to each other,
Yeah.
is, you know, foreplay. It doesn't have to get to a
Yeah.
point where people are actually, you know, having sex.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, and culture as well, culture also just perpetuates this notion that if your partner is not having sex with you, there is a problem.
Yeah.
You know, yes, there could be a problem, but are we having conversations about what the actual issue is? It's not that I'm rejecting you, but
Yeah.
I'm going through something currently.
And at the time, I don't know how aware you were of the effect that the hormones that you were taking had on our sex life
Yeah.
until you stopped taking those hormones. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there was a different conversation to say, now when we're having sex and you were off the birth control, I was like, damn, and you were like, damn, right? It was, and you were like, I feel different, and I'm,
Yeah.
you know, but you see, you can't have the vocabulary for something that you're completely unaware of, and both of us were unaware of
Yeah.
it. So I didn't know to not take it personally because I
Yeah.
didn't know that there was an external factor that was contributing to this.
Sure.
But at the same time, I also want us to be careful not to steer away from the importance of intimacy through sex.
Yes. Yes.
It remains important. It doesn't, it's not the be all and end all. It doesn't mean that you don't have an intimate relationship should you not be having sex at that time. But I don't want us to take away from the importance of that. It's a beautiful thing that was created by God
Yeah.
for two people within a marriage.
Yeah.
And you know, there's it's funny because I remember one time, one season in our lives, I felt like, you know, if we went for a while without having sex, and then my wife and I have sex, like she's sensitive, man,
And we fight.
about everything. Like, why are we not cuddling? Why are we not spending time?
Why
we
are you late?
Why are you late? You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
was like, man, and then I started to realize that this happens every time we have sex.
Sure.
And it was something that, I don't know, just kind of locked in my subconscious. And I was like, to avoid the drama, like in the name of peace.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's just not.
Sure.
I remember there was that season where I was just like, yeah, let's not,
Yeah.
you know?
You know what's interesting
Yeah,
though, baby?
yeah.
So what's interesting for me is that, but maybe you can tell me from a man's perspective. From a woman's perspective, sex equals love.
Yeah.
So when you can receive me, when you initiate, when you find me desirable, when you want to please me, when you are concerned about my wants and my, you know, just my general well-being when it comes to intimacy, I feel loved.
And that's the funny thing. So that's
Yeah.
something else that we noticed, right? When I'm stressed, I want to have sex. When my wife is stressed, she doesn't.
Yeah.
She's just like, I'm not in the mood. I'm like, this doesn't need a mood. This, like, do you know what I'm saying? And that was the difference. But
Yeah.
we did go through another season.
Yes.
We did go through another season where now my wife was just like, Maji, why are
Do you hate
not,
me?
Why
Do-
are you not
Yeah.
initiating? Why are we not having sex? Why is it always coming from me? Why is it? And I, you know, now there was a lot that I was trying to figure out in my mind, but honestly, in that season, my body wasn't responding. In that season, I wasn't interested in it. I didn't think about it. I didn't, and
Sure.
it was weird because in that season, I felt really bad. But at the same time, I had a lot to kind of figure out at the same time to be like, why is it that I'm going through this? And then I realized that it was because I was under a lot of stress, interestingly, right? Because remember, I said that when it comes to men, we're like, this is a stress reliever. But then what started happening, like I said just now, is my body wasn't responding. Now I got issues. Now I'm self-conscious because I can't perform.
Sure.
Now my wife and I are trying to get into it and my body's not responding. Now it's just like, and because women love to talk, after my non-performance, she wants to have a conversation about it. I want to kill myself. I'm like, leave me alone, right? Because it's the shame, it's the
Sure.
embarrassment, it's, oh God, I just want the earth to open up and swallow me whole because I'm just like, yo, and I don't realize in that moment, for you, it was the hormones at that time. And for me, it's really just a lack of sleep,
Sure.
a lack of rest,
Yeah.
a lack of a good diet, a lack of taking care of myself, a lot of stress on my head,
Lack of exercise.
a lack of exercise. And my body was just like, no. Now,
Sure.
my wife at that time, remember, I'm not initiating, right? At that time, now she's feeling like, do you even desire me? Like,
Yeah.
do you find me attractive?
Yeah.
Do you? And that was a really tricky season for us because we didn't have the
Yeah.
vocabulary to.
So that season was very tough for me and obviously for you.
Yeah.
And because there was so much happening, I'm one taking offense that this man does not find me desirable. I remember I used to ask, but outside desire, remember sex communicates love to me. So I would even ask, do you love
Do you
me?
even
Do you
love
even
me?
Do you know what I mean? So for me, I felt one, the rejection part of that. Does this man even love me? Does he find me desirable? But also there was the frustration of why is it not happening? You
Yeah.
know, why are you not coming to the party? Like, because it wouldn't be
And that's
because
pressure,
because it
right?
wouldn't be immediate, right?
Yeah.
We would get into it, and then it's like,
It's like, my brother, what's
you know?
happening now? Yeah.
And
yeah.
that is the conversation, baby, that people are scared to have.
Yeah.
Because even when we look at these adverts, double men's clinic and all these things, it's like
Oh God. And now my wife wants to be like, should we set up an appointment for you at men's clinic? I'm
I
just
didn't
like,
say
kill
that.
me.
I never said that. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
But baby, let's explain the cycle though
Yes.
of performance
let's-
anxiety. Because I
Right,
think a lot of
because
people
that's something
don't
we
know
haven't spoken
about performance anxiety.
And it's something I admitted to you the
something
one
that
time.
you admitted to
Yeah.
me. So now you are stressed. Okay, your man, ladies, I'm talking to you right now, right? Because what we are taught is that men always want to have sex.
Yeah.
We were taught that men's sex drive is 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
And if your man does not want to have sex with you, it means that they're getting it elsewhere.
Yeah.
We've heard that.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Right?
Yeah.
And now you're in your feels that, okay, your man is not initiating, your man's body is betraying him. You try once, you try twice, and because of that performance anxiety now he's worried about
Is it going to
letting
happen
you
again?
down again.
Letting you down again.
right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to talk about these things. We need to talk about the fact that a man's sex drive or woman's sex drive can be affected by more than
External
one external factor,
factors.
more than one factor. It's not just the desirability.
Yeah.
It's not just that I find you attractive or I don't find you
Yeah.
attractive, but what is stress doing to my mind, and what is that and now it is
Translating
it's translated
into your body.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I think also what we should speak about is the culture around sex.
Yeah.
And how a man's performance is directly attached to
His
the size of his
manhood.
ego.
Ooh.
Right?
Is that the manhood?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now it's like, how do I walk with my shoulders up and be like, because for me, the greatest compliment is my wife having a private conversation with her friend and being like, nah, he put it down. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm like, that's right.
We don't really have that kind of those kind of conversations.
No, that's fine. I'm saying in a world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm feeling like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Like things are good.
So immediately when I am the cause of depriving myself of those bragging rights, my ego is shot. So I'm coming to performance anxiety. So even before going in, guys, before anything, I don't even want to approach it now because I'm like, yo, I tried this, I tried that, it didn't work. And literally my mind is now getting in the way of me doing anything because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this is going to go down. And at that time, women, you need answers.
Yeah.
You're a woman. That women need us. They're like, Chief, I need you to account.
Sorry, what kind of questions was I asking at the time? Outside the do you love me?
Do you want to talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. Is there something that you need to tell me? Do you not love me? Do we need to speak to someone? What's wrong? And I don't have answers to any of these questions. And again, I don't want to talk about it. Why? I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. My ego has taken a knock. And I'm just like, yo, I don't. Now, in hindsight, I can see, oh, okay, actually, you're just stressed.
Yeah.
Actually, you're just, and I mean, since then, I think we've had a great sex life, right?
Why am I getting shy?
No, but we have, you know what I mean? And it was really through, it's almost releasing yourself from the responsibility and the shame of what your body is telling you. If anything, when that happens, it's just your body sending signals to you to say, hey, go away, take care of yourself, rest, find ways to de-stress, reconnect, with your partner. There are so many things. And it's almost like it's just a flag. That's all it is. It's just a flag going up saying, yo, you've got some stuff to take care of. And we need to stop personalizing these things. Also, if it's your partner, there was a point where I personalized it. And in hindsight, no, it was an external factor. There was a point where you personalized it. And in hindsight, no, it was an external factor.
And baby, I love what you're saying because we've been married for 14 years, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that after so many years, I kept saying to you, but why are you anxious? Right?
Yeah.
When it came to the performance anxiety, I'm like, I'm your wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it speaks to what you spoke about now with regards to the attaching a man's performance to their manhood. Because I'm a woman, I don't understand it. I'm like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Fine, your body betrayed you today. What's the big deal? And you just wanted to crawl into a hole.
I wanted to die.
Like, okay, well, not literally.
I wanted to die.
Not literally.
In that moment? In that moment, guys, you don't understand.
But what is it? I don't get it. What is it, guys? Men, what is it? Tell us. Why is it that you feel like crawling into a hole when you can't perform?
It's because of how we've been educated around sex and how your performance is directly attached to your worth, your self-worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Fully.
That is a big cross to carry. Hey?
It's from the change rooms before you got to play sports to guys sizing each other up, you know, being like, yeah, you know, I'm hung low, I'm whatever. Literally the entire conversation.
thing?
If
I'm
you,
hung low?
Yeah, if you happen to,
Oh, wow.
but conversations that women also have
About men.
about men
Whether
and their
size matters.
size and everything, you know what I mean? And them saying,
Sure.
yeah, no, I can't deal with a smaller nyana. No, I need a, you know what I'm saying? So all of that speaks to our ego, all of it, you know what I mean? And so you go out into the world already with performance anxiety,
Sure.
already from the get. You're just like, man, you know, and you know that this woman she's gonna have tea with her friends
Sure.
afterwards, and she's gonna talk about you. And as a group, they're gonna decide where they've put you
Sure.
based on your performance. It's not a figment of our imagination. It's a real thing that happens in society. And so I think, and then for myself, you know, I was exposed to pornography at a very young age. And what that did to my psyche was, number one, I had a very unhealthy relationship with sex, just generally, right? And what it is, what it's supposed to look like, what it's, you know, all of those
Yeah.
things. And so the images that I have in my mind and what is happening here, this is very underwhelming,
Sure.
because
Well,
no, but you understand what I'm
you're
saying?
like underwhelming. I'm like, but we
No,
were
no, no.
not
Sorry.
underwhelming.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my performance is
Oh.
underwhelming.
Not what's happening here.
Not what's happening.
Okay.
No,
okay,
my
okay,
performance
okay.
here, because those images that I used to look at,
They lost.
yo,
They're gone for like the whole night
45 minutes
to 2 hours.
to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you're looking at that, and that's the measure. That's the yardstick. That's the goal. You
Sure.
don't know that they're calling cut, that this guy is taking performance enhancing drugs. You don't know
Yeah.
any of that.
Yeah.
But you're sold this thing to believe that this is what, and now you couple that then with life's stress, and now you're not sleeping and you're not taking care of yourself, and then now you're embarrassed and you're ashamed, and now your ego is taken on, and you're a mess.
Sure.
How are you gonna have sex? How are you gonna perform
Sure.
with all of that like on your shoulders? And you got to carry that, and then you're also carrying the fact that the pressure of, my wife feels like I don't love her. She feels like I don't see her. She feels like I'm not attracted to her. Now you're adding on to,
Yeah.
it's rough.
So what's interesting, my love, is that, sure, this is so layered, right?
Yeah.
You are feeling all these feelings, all these emotions.
Yeah.
When we started the conversation, you said that a lot of men that you speak to are saying that there is the lack of sex is as a result of their partners not wanting to participate,
Yeah.
right? Which brings me to these questions. Are men having the conversation about performance anxiety? Are they having the conversation about their bodies betraying them? Are they having the conversation about what pornography can potentially do? Well, not potentially, what pornography will do, you know, to your outlook on sex and what the expectation of your performance will be, or even your partner's performance.
I mean, I think, you know, it's a conversation that I've had often, and we had it recently where,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like women don't know what to do with a man's vulnerability.
True.
And I think that conversation should be had amongst us men, if we would allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough with each other, because we wouldn't be alarmists. As a matter of fact, you would start to discover that, oh, you're not alone. Like, there are other guys.
So, which is why I'm asking, my love,
Yeah.
that when we were going through what we were going through, I know that you talk to your friends about other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Is this something that you could take to Nat and say, Nat, I'm struggling with this and I want to jump into a dark hole and never emerge?
So it's something that I haven't spoken to him about, because there's also an element of me of wanting to figure it out,
Okay.
you know, before I speak to him. And maybe other men are also like that, you know what I mean? To be like, yo, man, I once went through this thing and whatever, and this is how I figured it out. I think it's not easy to find people that you can trust with your vulnerability, even in other men. You know what I mean? And so a lot of things, we carry a lot in our heads.
Sure.
And we like to find solutions. Unlike women, you guys talk to find your solutions.
Yeah.
We think
Okay.
to find our solutions.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so to answer your question, sorry, I know I'm kind of going the long way around. No, we were not having the conversation. We're not having the conversation among ourselves. And this is why I'm grateful for platforms like this.
Yeah.
And actually, interestingly, even we are having the conversation once we've come around the bend.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
And
you didn't want to have the conversation.
Yeah, and one of the questions would be, okay, so how did you
Yes.
come around the bend?
Yeah.
And I think that should be a parting.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that you said to me was that stop asking me questions.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
If we have sex and my body betrays me, just sweep it under the rug. And
Ain't no thing.
Ain't no thing. Oh, babe, love you. Move on.
But you know what was interesting?
Yeah.
After I had that conversation with
With
you, I
me.
felt safer.
Please let's talk about this feeling safe, because I remember you saying to me that you do not feel safe with your vulnerability.
I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe to come in knowing that I may perform, I may not, and you're not moved either way. But because there was so much pressure on my performance,
Sure.
I didn't feel safe. So after having the conversation with you, there was a safety that was created because you couldn't say, I didn't tell you.
I love
Even
that.
if you had to fake it and just roll over and be like, my husband doesn't want me to talk about it, right? That was fine. But it was interesting that after that conversation, we haven't experienced that yet. Till
That is
now.
true. That is
since that
true.
conversation.
Sure, babe. I really love what you're saying, because after that conversation, then you didn't feel like my wife is having conversations in her mind with herself. I'm not thinking, is he not finding me desirable? Does he not love me?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? So you just felt like, oh, okay, it's another day
Well, I wanted it to be another day for
for
you
me.
because I needed for it to be another day for me. You see, if we treated it like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean? Then I'm safe. Then I'm like, oh, okay. And again, interestingly, it hasn't happened since.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have this added pressure. Now, the initial cause was stress, which I still have, was a lack of sleep, which
Which you
I still
still-
have, was,
Guys, Lerato, my husband sleeps like 4 hours
right?
on a good night.
But hear me out. So that was the initial cause, right? But the anxiety thereof came from our relationship. It didn't come from the stress. It didn't come from the non-performance. The stress came from the conversations that we are having, the questions that you are asking me, which then brings on the humility. Not the humility, not humility. The embarrassment. What's
Okay.
the other word for it?
Humiliated.
Yes.
Humiliation.
That's why I said the humiliation, humility, which then brings on the
Yeah,
humiliation,
yeah.
right? Now that humiliation, it trumps stress, it trumps lack of sleep, it trumps, because now I'm in my head. Now I'm just like, yo, now I'm talking to myself, and guys can attest to this. We're just like, bro, my G, you better come on, work.
Sure.
It's and the brother is just like, my brother.
It's not
Not
happening.
today.
But baby, what I'm interested in finding out is what conversations are you having with yourself as a man when you can't, for a lack of a better word, please your wife? Because with us as women, we've been told that, obviously, if you don't, culture says, right? You even hear it when women balaiwa, you know, when we get married, then
Yeah.
the elders will say, yeah, no, if you don't give them sex, they will surely go get it outside,
Yeah.
right? So that is something that is also at the back of women's
woman's
minds
mind,
to
yeah.
say, okay, I need to be servicing my husband 3 times a week, else he's going to get it outside. What silent conversations are you having with yourself when you can't please your woman in that season? Are you worried about me stepping out?
No,
That's not even a consideration.
no, only because I feel secure in that department, in my marriage. That's definitely not the
And
conversation
also,
I'm having.
it's not a conversation that
Society is
elders
having.
are having with you guys.
Society, yeah. So society is not saying your woman's gonna step out on you if you're not performing, unless you watch trash TV. Because then women are like, but you're not giving me what I need. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But personally, no, that's not the conversation I'm having with myself. Quite honestly, it's, and maybe this is also another fundamental difference between men and women. It was never about you, and I never made it about you.
Sure.
And I was always aware that it wasn't about you. And so in that instance, I'm thinking about, like, how do I fix me? You know, and a lot of the frustration came from not knowing how.
Yeah.
I didn't know how. And so when you needed answers, I didn't have them. And I remember at the time, because I wanted to be accountable, and because you would press, like, I would try to grab onto something.
And then I feel like you're making excuses.
You see
I'm
what I
like,
mean?
the other date was this.
Do-
Today it's this.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And yet, the truth is, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in that instance, where I'm just like, damn, like, you know, you're a great dad, you're a great husband, you work hard, you do, you know what I mean? And I've got these, I'm very hard on myself, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that I've got, but now there's this department that I'm just like, I don't know. And I don't know how to fix it.
And I think just before imparting, baby, I just want to release people and make them understand that, like everything else in life, there are seasons.
Yeah.
Your sex life will have seasons.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a sex therapist, but I'm speaking from my experience.
Yeah.
Right? You'll have your summer, your spring, your winter, and your autumn. So I feel like sometimes people feel like this is the end. And they take just that one moment of winter and they run with it and they make conclusions, and people start feeling bad about themselves. People start feeling unsafe in the relationship. So I think just understand that, like everything in marriage, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Let's also not be fixated on the performance, I think, because that's what gives people performance anxiety. Guys, we're not writing a test.
Yeah.
This is my husband. This is your wife. We need to create a safe space.
Yeah.
If my body is betraying me that day, you know, I know women want to have a conversation, but I understand now that my husband doesn't want to have the conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's not make everything. I always say to people that there's this finality in life with people, that everything is so final.
Yeah.
This season, sex is, you know, lackluster, you know, for a lack of a better word.
Leaves much to be desired.
Leaves much to be desired. People feel like this is what the rest of our lives is going to look like. And people start to look for answers elsewhere, which can be very destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, baby. That's good. I think for me, my parting shot would be, like, to men, be kind to yourself, man.
Sure.
Honestly, like, be kind to yourself. Learn to recognize, learn to be honest with yourself first. Learn to be honest. And sometimes we don't have the vocabulary. Sometimes we're not sure whether we're coming or going. I remember saying a couple of podcasts ago that one of the things I released myself from, I was like, I don't owe you an explanation as far as knowing things that I don't know. And that's part of being kind to yourself. Like sometimes you're allowed to say, I don't
No.
know. Like just say, I don't know. Take care of yourself as best as you can. Not only for yourself, but for the people that love you, for your kids, in order for you to carry out everything that you're supposed to carry out, that God has put on you. This thing needs our bodies, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit, and this temple needs to be in good condition.
Yeah.
But very often it's here. We don't take care of our minds. We're not thinking healthy thoughts. We're not, you know what I mean? We're not putting the work in. And so it took me a long time to get to this place where I've now found the vocabulary. And I'm saying to you, you don't have to still sit to figure it out. And I'm hoping that this conversation will open up a conversation in your home as well, to start to say, no, actually, yeah, listen, I've got a lot going on. I don't want to talk about it, but I would just really like for you to create a safe space for me.
Yeah.
Just a safe space to be vulnerable, to not know sometimes and be like, it was another day. We tried it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once we take care of that environment and the safe space, then it gives you the strength to go out and battle the world out there. And this is the thing, guys. I know, gents. I know, like every day we are battling the world out there. You want to come home to a place that feels peaceful, that feels safe, where you can just be the best version of yourself. And sometimes that starts with just being honest with yourself and then be honest with your partner.
Baby, I'm so grateful that you're releasing men.
Yeah.
I know that men are going to watch this podcast and some of them are going to say, this guy's a simp. You know, this term that people use because men have that false sense of, is it bravado?
Yeah.
Because when you are vulnerable and when you're honest, other men say you're a simp.
Yeah.
I've seen it with men who love their women out loud, men who are vulnerable about, their feelings and their emotions and their challenges. Because of that toxic masculinity, they are looked at as simping.
For sure.
So, but I'm really, really glad that you're having this conversation and you are releasing men out there.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, baby, in terms of asking for help, I think people should also get help if they go through a long season and things are not improving.
Yeah.
We were blessed in the sense that it just blew over for us.
Yeah.
But that's not everyone's story.
Sure.
Sometimes people really feel like we've been in this funk for a very long time and things are not changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I did recently to aid us in our sex life, I put a contract together. My wife hasn't signed it. But I put a contract and I said, baby, here's a contract. It was
but I explained to you why I haven't signed it.
Tell the people why you haven't signed it, so that tell them why you haven't signed it. Let me tell them what it was. So I put a contract that I signed in front of my wife and I said, baby, in this house here, we're gonna have sex this many times. There were terms and conditions. I said, if a certain week goes by and then we skip that, we have to make up for it. It doesn't just fall off, the next time or whatever. I put it together in a contract and I sent it to her. Why haven't you signed it?
So in my defense, guys, I haven't signed this
I'm not
contract.
accusing you, but
no, I know you're not, and I know that you believe my reasons for not signing it.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to figure out family planning. As you all know, guys, we have a young baby, Bon. She's only 7 months.
Yeah.
Baby, if I had to fall pregnant now, I would cry blood. I would cry blood, So for me, we're still trying to figure that out, which is why I haven't signed the contract. So I'm a bit nervous to make a commitment.
We did say to you guys that this episode was brought to you by Salal. Guys, if you are interested in taking care of yourself, make sure that you scan this QR code right here. I think we'll put it somewhere here. here. All right. Make sure that you scan the QR code. Look at the products that they have. If there's anything that really resonates with you as far as self-care, zitande, guys, zitande. If
Love
there's
it.
any product there that speaks to you, QR code, and you are welcome. I love you.
I love you.
I
Thank you
adore
so
you.
much for this. I'm so glad I was a bit nervous about having this conversation
Yeah.
because I didn't know how far you are willing to take it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you were bold and you've released other men.
We love you guys. One time,
One time,
too
too
real.
real.
Oh, yes. Peace and blessings, people. We out.
Love you.